Hi, I'm Anne. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be kind of doing a mini Q&A, and then I'm going to do a birthday book tag. So last week I kind of announced I was going to do a Q&A for this week and to leave down in the comments of that video questions for me, but only 2 people left questions, so I can't really do a Q&A. So instead I'm going to do like a mini Q&A, and then we're going to go into this birthday book tag. Becky from Teacup the Storyteller, she did this tag and it looked really fun and light and something fun to do for your birthday. And tomorrow, as when you're watching this, is my birthday. So happy birthday to me. And in fact, as of when you're watching this, I will currently be participating in my bridal shower. So planning a wedding is so much work. First, let's get into the 2 people that actually asked me questions, and they asked me a few questions. How did you and your fiance meet? I feel like this could be a video in of itself, but basically we met through mutual friends. I started, after I moved to Ohio, I started to attend this college, and during orientation, first year orientation, I was a transfer student, and I met this guy who was also a history major, and he was going to set up a D&D group, which is short for Dungeons and Dragons. It's basically role play. A lot of people know about it, even if they may not have played it. So it was his first time DMing or creating the world of this role playing. And so he brought in the resident expert, which was my fiance. I mean, he wasn't my fiance at the time because I didn't know him. But so I was part of this group, and so was my fiance, and we met through that. We became friends for a couple months until my fiance asked me out, and then we've been dating since. How do you take your coffee? I was thinking about this earlier because I've been trying different kinds of coffee recently. And basically I have decided I like almost any type of coffee, except for if it is far on either spectrum. So I don't really like black coffee, but I also don't like highly sugary coffee. So I've realized that as long as it has some fat in it, I'll like it. So whether it's heavy whipping cream, half and half, some type of whole milk, I will like it in there. But I don't really like almond milk or non-fat options in there. But I also like some sugar in there. Sometimes I'll just put a spoonful of sugar, or I'll use an actual coffee creamer. I like just a little bit of sweet and a little bit of fat usually in my coffee. What's your favorite snack? I don't really have a favorite snack. I am a massive variety eater. I like to eat various things. I get sick of things a lot. So one of my favorite snacks to eat is just straight up raw almonds. Really like those. Or just a nuts or dried berries, something like that. I like that. But then I get sick of them and then don't have them for a while. Another one I like is just cheese and crackers. That's a really good snack. Apples. I eat a lot of apples and bananas, and I don't know. I tend to try to eat healthier things when it comes to snacks, but sometimes for snack I will literally just have a packet of ramen, which is 400, 500 calories. So I'm all over the place with my snacks. Now we have Kay Foo's questions. She's actually a self-published author, I just realized recently. I will link her book. She wrote a lovely picture book, which she also did the art for. I'll leave it down in the description, the Amazon link, because I think it's so cool. So she asked quite a few questions, so we're just gonna jump into it. So first question is, do you know what book you would want with you if you were stuck on a deserted island for years? My first reaction is just practical, and as much I would like to say, oh yeah, I want a book that is very long, makes me think, and something that I need to read a lot to fully understand it. Something like War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. But to be honest, I feel like I would want something much more practical. So I'm going to go with the Boy Scouts manual, just because my dad learned so many things from it. My dad was a Boy Scout back in the 60s around. The Boy Scout handbook is really good with basic survival technique that you would need on a deserted island. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like while I want to go with a highbrow, difficult book that I could endure just rereading many times, I'd probably go with more practical. Number 2, do you enjoy art? If you do you have a favorite artist or an art movement style? Yes, I do enjoy art. In fact, I took an art appreciation course back in during my first degree when I was getting my associate's degree in college, and it was so much fun to learn of the different art movements throughout history. We went all the way back from the Greek. We might have even discussed a little bit of Egyptian, and then all the way up to the modern day with modern art. It was really interesting to learn all the different art movements. But I think my favorite one would have to be not a particular artist, but ancient Greek art is probably my favorite, especially since you look at even Renaissance artists and up to today artists, there's quite a lot of techniques that were used by the ancient Greeks that are still incorporated into the modern day. But then I'm also really interested in Renaissance art. So those have actual artists like Michelangelo or things like that. Number 3, as a reader, do you gravitate towards reading for A, plots and the thrill of the unknown, B, rich character development, or C, beautifully crafted prose? Ugh. For me, prose isn't as important because I can have very simplistic writing and enjoy it just as much as very flowery writing. So I think it's not as much about the prose for me as much as it's about the plot and characters. However, between plot and characters, I will say I tend to enjoy better characters than plot, because even if a plot is good, if the characters are really bad, I probably won't enjoy it. Whereas if the plot is mediocre, but the characters are amazing, I'll probably enjoy it. So I would go with B, but I like good plot and good characters. Number 4, what cake flavor or dessert have you and your fiance decided on for your wedding? We haven't decided. In fact, we have a cake tasting on Monday. But we are going through the caterer who's actually catering our wedding. So they have a very limited number of cakes. My personal favorite cake is probably red velvet. I've really enjoyed it before in the past, and I also just like the color red. Like, it's probably my favorite color. So I would go with the red velvet. For my fiance, he really likes spice cakes. That's his favorite type of cake. So I don't know, we haven't decided on our wedding yet, but we'll probably go with something simple, like whether it's a chocolate cake or a yellow cake or a white cake, just something classic and basic. Number 5, do you have any pets? Yes, I do. I have one dog. Well, technically she's not mine because she belongs to my mother, but she is the sweetest creature in the world. She's a golden retriever. She is going to be 13 years old this year, I think. And number 6, because I am drinking tea, so it's fitting, what are your favorite types of tea? Ooh. See, the same way I am with snacks where I like variety, I'm the same way with tea. So I don't necessarily like drinking the same tea a lot. I like massive variety, whether it's black tea, whether it's green tea, whether it's herbal teas. I don't have a favorite because I like variety. The only couple that I don't like is I'm not a massive fan of anything with turmeric in it. Also chamomile tea. I do not like chamomile tea, but anything else. So those are the questions for my Q&A. Thank you, Shelly and Kimberly, for asking me questions. Now we're going to go on to the birthday book tag. 1, birthday cake, a book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. I'm not sure if this actually counts, but I'm going to go with Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, though technically this isn't a cliche because when she wrote it, it wasn't a cliche. But nowadays, this type of plot, the hate to love type trope, is so common. So it's kind of cliched, but at the time it wasn't. So does that make it not cliched because it was the first? Number 2, party guests, your most anticipated book release for this year. I've talked about how I don't really anticipate book releases. However, Simone St. James is coming out with a new book in March that's called The Book of Cold Cases. And I read her The Sundown Motel a couple years ago. It came out and it was one of my favorite books of that year. I think it was 2020, I'm pretty sure. And then I really enjoyed a couple of her other books that I read. So everything I've read by her, I've enjoyed. So I'm excited to get into this book and read it. I already have it pre-ordered from my library, so I'm hoping to get it soon after it's released. Number 3, birthday presents. A book that surprised you with how much you loved it. I'm going to go with, I probably talked about this book enough recently, Herodotus, The Histories. So here's the thing. I went into this book thinking it was going to be more of a dense ancient Greek history book. That's my expectations of it. And I assumed that I would enjoy it on a more academic level, but I didn't know how fun this would be to read. It's not really heavy. It's not really difficult to read. It's light and fun, and the history is just so fun because Herodotus tells the history as stories, and it makes it very amusing. So I expected to enjoy this book for academic reasons, but I just enjoyed reading it in general. So that was great. Number 4, Happy Birthday Song, a book that certainly deserved all the hype it got. And I'm going to go with A Man Called Uwe by Fredrik Backman. So this is a Swedish book that was translated into English, and it has been made into the movie. I enjoy the movie as well, but I don't think it's as good as the book. Basically, it tells the story of this grumpy old man who befriends this family, and it kind of tells his life story. It's definitely hard to get into at times because Uwe is not a really likable character. He's not very nice. He's kind of mean to everybody in the beginning, but as you read the story, you understand where he's coming from. It's a really great book, and it does deserve all the hype it gets, in my opinion. Number 5, Happy Music. A book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. I'm gonna go with like all of Shakespeare for this. This is my complete collection of Shakespeare. The first thing I thought about when I thought of this prompt was Julius Caesar, which is one of his tragedies, because it has so many memorable quotes that so many people still quote today. Cry havoc and something, the dogs of war. Does she love how I really know these quotes well? Beware the Ides of March. There's so many quotes from that one. But in general, just Shakespeare is a very quoted author, and he has some amazing quotes for like every topic. Number 6, Getting Older, a book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate more if you read it as a more mature reader. I'm going to go with The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I have not read this book since I was about 14 or 15, so it's been over a decade, about 13 to 14 years since I read this book. And I didn't really like it when I was forced to read it through high school. Don't get me wrong, it has beautiful themes, but it's a very unpleasant story. If you didn't know what Scarlet Letter is about, it's this woman who lives in a very strict Puritan culture. She gets pregnant and she is ostracized from the community, but she continues to raise her daughter, but she has this printing of an A for adulteress on all her dresses. So it's a rather unpleasant story, especially since the father of the child does not get punished because she refuses to reveal his name. And there's a lot going on. It's a very fascinating story for how short it is, but I didn't really enjoy it when I was younger, and I feel like I would enjoy it a lot more now because I'm an adult, and so these things feel much more real. Social constraints, peer pressure in the sense of societal pressures. So yeah, I think I'd have a lot more thoughts of it if I read it now. Number 7, Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. I am going to actually go with The Adventures of Tintin, and in general, just all of them. I have the complete collection of all of Tintin behind me, and my mother bought me these for Christmas. They had a sale, so it was like regular price, like $120, but it was on sale for a lot less than that. So my mom bought this for me because when I was a child, I just remember like whenever I was feeling discouraged about anything, I would get copies of these from the library, and I would constantly get them and reread them again. And it was just like my happy place to go to when I was feeling overwhelmed with school or just upset with my parents or whatever like a young child would be. So, have you read any of these books? Especially if like you have very different answers for any of the prompts or any of the Q&A questions than I do. Like, how do you like your coffee? What types of teas do you enjoy? Are there any teas I should try? Because I would love to learn about more tea out there. And also, because my wedding is coming up in exactly a month, less than a month at this point, I'm going to be doing a lot lighter videos for the next month or so because I'm just so overwhelmed with so much to do. I'm going to be restarting school next week. Actually, this coming week, Tuesday is my first class. So I have to do that. Then I have to, hopefully my fiance and I find an apartment, and then we have to start moving all our stuff into there. We also have to, you know, take care of final plans with the wedding, and I'm just going to be so overwhelmed in the next few weeks that not only am I going to pre-film for like the week or two around my wedding, but up until then I'm probably going to be doing just like fun, light sit-down videos, whether it's like top 10s or like book tags or something like that, where it's just light that I don't have to worry about being overwhelmed with my life. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe. I post every Saturdays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great week. Bye.